Game Bird, what are we talking about, buddy?
All right. So we got a big one here because a lot of us were expecting some sort of a Switch Direct this month. And unless there's some sort of Nintendo miracle tomorrow, it looks like we're not getting one. And it's interesting because we also had, obviously Jeff Grubb talked about this, PH Brazil. So what's going on? Like, do you guys think that there's any possibility that a Direct is happening? Is it going to happen in March? Maybe the February was wrong. Is it going to be Switch One focused? Could it be, indie or partner Mario Day related? What are you guys thinking? And does this feel kind of like a letdown for you guys? How are you feeling knowing that this just might not be happening?
More excited.
Look, I don't. So I was obviously, a few podcasts ago, very confident that we were going to end up getting some sort of Direct this month. Mostly because history, right? It's been 4 years in a row.
4 years.
Sorry.
Yeah.
And on top of that, PH Brazil's fairly reliable, but he was only once I found out he was only single sourced this time compared to last August, I was like, oh, well, that's a little different then because which source was correct. You don't really know. It sounds like they both were, but then maybe only one was reliable and one got lucky, right? And so it sounds like one maybe got lucky and the other one was the reliable one. And now he now knows that personally, but it's one of those, when he clarified halfway through the month, well, actually, this is just like one source. It's like, okay, so you're not that confident because by now you would have heard more and you didn't. Nate the Hate never heard anything. Now he said, well, I wasn't asking. Yeah, but he usually doesn't ask. They just tell him. So he wasn't hearing anything. And then the weird thing, though, is when Jeff Grubb came in like 2 weeks ago and he's like, well, actually, I have someone telling me the same thing that's happening this month. I'm like, oh, okay. But we all know how reliable Jeff Grubb has been with some of his Nintendo sources.
Yeah.
He's way more reliable with other companies, not necessarily as much with Nintendo. So that's not to say Jeff Grubb doesn't have a source. It's just that I think that because if you look at what happened, right, like, is it possible they had a Direct scheduled and then they canceled it or whatever? And I'm like, I don't think so, actually, because look what they did. Last week was previews for Xenoblade Chronicles X. Nintendo knew they were those guys had the review copies. So they had them like weeks ago. So Nintendo already knew last week was going to be previews and there wasn't going to be a Direct. And then they did the overview trailer this week. They would have already known that. They would have already known they're following the preview following week with an overview trailer for Xenoblade Chronicles X, and they would have obviously known about the Pokemon Presents tomorrow. So it's one of those things where it's like you kind of look at it, and it looks to me like no, Nintendo at no point never had one and canceled it. So it makes me smile only a smidge because it means I get to say, "Hey, look, Samus Hunter was wrong again."
I want to add a second part to this. Because there's some interesting stuff there, but what do you guys think this means for Switch One? Do you think it's Xenoblade? Is it ending? Do you think that they're just going to save those Switch One games for the April 2nd Switch 2 Direct? We know it's backwards compatible. There's a possibility the games are going to run better, so maybe they want to show it like, hey, this is a Switch One game. This is it running on Switch 2. Yeah. Do you think there's still room for Switch 1 Directs post the Switch 2? So what are your guys' thoughts on that as well?
Yeah. So what I will say is, setting aside the fact that I absolutely think there's no Direct, I think they would have pre-announced it. We got Pokemon Presents tomorrow. They're going to let Pokemon have their day. Exciting, by the way. We should see Legends EA gameplay for the first time.
Hell yeah.
Wow, that's pretty hype.
I got my
setting that aside. Yeah. Setting that aside, we got I do think they'll do something for Mario Day. It's 40th anniversary. They're going to do something. They're going to show something. I don't know if it's going to be a new game. I don't know if it's going to be, just Galaxy 2 or something. There'll be something going on for Mario Day. They celebrate Mario Day every year. Whether or not they show games or if it's just all merchandise stuff, I don't know, but there'll be something. Will they do like a mini presentation that day? Maybe. I don't know. But there'll be some celebrations of Mario Day because it's 40th anniversary. So what they show, I have no idea. Again, if they have games to show, then I think there'll be a mini presentation for it. If they don't have games to show, then it's just going to be a bunch of like a flurry of social announcements. But in terms of Switch 1, I don't think they're done. Like Kirby Planet Robobot's probably coming. Nate the Hate said it is. I'm sure that's probably a thing that's coming. They'll probably have other ports and remasters, and there'll be other third-party games. I think, though, when Nintendo decided to announce the Switch 2 Direct in January, that's when they knew they weren't going to do any other Direct before then. So when you consider that they've already announced their next Direct, how silly it was to kind of think, oh, they've already announced their next Direct, so now they're going to slip another Direct in. As much as it makes sense to line up, because, hey, look, Switch 2's not out till June at the earliest, right? So then, they got to line up Switch games. Do they really need a Direct for ports and remasters and third-party games? Or can they just do their flurry of Twitter Directs they've done in the past? Do they actually need a Direct presentation anymore for Switch 1? And I think the answer is no. I think they can get away with just social media posts. And I think that'll do just fine. I mean, the Bayonetta 3 release date didn't happen in a Direct. That was just literally posted on X and Instagram. So I kind of think because Nintendo doesn't have any more major, like, brand new first-party games coming, that they don't necessarily need the Direct anymore for Switch 1. Which does mean we have sadly had our last general Switch 1 Direct, which was back in June of last year. Crazy how long ago that feels now. But that doesn't mean we won't see something at the Switch 2 Direct. And I think the something we're going to see is either an old Switch game showing it running better or something on Switch 2 to kind of show backwards compatibility and some improvements there. Or if they don't do that, let's say Nintendo decides they're not going to improve games and they don't want to showcase that, we could see Metroid Prime 4 as a cross-gen at that Direct. And so then that technically would be like seeing a Switch 1 game, but we're going to see it in light of, here it is on Switch 1, but if you get it at launch, here's the mouse support and how crazy it looks on Switch 2. And it'll be even crazier. Nintendo, do right by the customer. Make it just one game. You just buy one game, and if you happen to play it on Switch 2, it's just better. That's what I hope, but I know Nintendo. It's going to be two different ones, and they're going to make me buy both copies. They're not making me buy it, but I'm going to buy it because I've been waiting forever for a new Metroid Prime. Like, I've been waiting a hell of a long time, so I'll end up owning. Maybe I leave the Switch copy sealed because that one might not be on sale for as long, or maybe it will be on sale even longer because that's the biggest audience. I don't know. But that's kind of how I feel personally about all of this. But it was a fun ride to speculate about a possible Direct.
Sure.
That's where I'm at.
Some good points there, but now we're going to fly over to the mystical land of Nintendo Land and ask you, Landon, what do you think? What are your thoughts on this one? Do you think there's still some miracle possibility of a Switch 1 Direct? Do you think that it's left in the dust? We won't really get much news. And what do you think this means for Switch 1 going forward as we enter the Switch 2 era?
I knew we were done by like week 3 of February. I felt very confident if something was going to happen, it was going to be very early in February. To get kind of like a little slate started. I really, with that Planet Robobot rumor, I felt February was perfect. I thought they could have just shadow dropped that in February, have that filled out, and then they just, go through all February with nothing instead. So I was like, yeah, something's. I don't think they had plans for anything. I don't think it was ever planned. I think their eyes are on Switch 2. I think they even came out in the beginning of February just to say, again, this is the time that Switch 2 Direct is going to happen. Get ready. I think they really are preparing like a mega show. And I mean, for them to advertise, I don't know if we've ever had them advertise a Direct this far in advance. And I think it speaks credence to what they're going to show. And yeah, it sucks because I think even though they didn't need to, I would have really loved to see a Direct because there's things that I feel like definitely need to come out before Switch 2. I still can't believe Prime 2 and Prime 3 are not out yet. That's something that, it's in my head, like, how is that working with Prime 4? Are they really just going to are they not going to give us those games? Are they going to come like last second? Are they going to come later on? I don't know. I would have liked to see Prime 4 touched on in a Direct. I mean, like, is this just going to be something else that's thrown in the Switch 2 Direct instead? I would have liked to see that there. But just more remakes, maybe more remasters. I mean, that's what we've been getting. It had been something that helped tie us over until Switch 2. I think most of us believe Switch 2 is going to launch probably in May or June. So there's going to be a lot of gaps still waiting for games. I still think games are coming. Like Nate said, I think we're going to get shadow drops. I think, Planet Robobot could easily just, here you go, on Twitter one day. Which I hate, by the way, because I collect physical games and I had to wait 2 weeks every freaking time. Metroid Prime killed me. But yeah, there's stuff that they can still, like, in my head, I'm thinking more 3DS games. I would love to see Kid Icarus finally come over. Maybe even like Link Between Worlds, because we know we always get Zelda something every year. It'd be a perfect time for another one of those. But I mean, to me, I'm happy though, because it just kind of is like, you know what? More waiting. Like, we know we're about to eat good. So I just kind of like, let's just take the month of March and just cruise it out. It's gonna be hard, but
March is gonna be rough.
Yeah.
March is gonna be rough. Oh man, good stuff, man. I agree with a lot of what you had to say about that. But now we're gonna flap on by to Mr. Silent but Deadly, Eric Moore.
Oh, sorry, I didn't know. Nobody was supposed to know that happened. No, February probably not a direct, but I could see them doing something, to announce games, whether it's a direct or not, on or around Mario Day. I mean, that is what is it again? Come on.
What day of the week?
Yeah, what
it?
day is that again?
That is a Monday.
So yeah, I mean, the day after, maybe they announce Mario stuff on Mario Day, and then do a small direct or an indie world, whatever you want to do, that Tuesday.
He's keeping hope alive, baby.
I can see it. But I mean, it's just my it's the last gasp of air for a direct for Switch One, for sure.
You heard it here first, Eric. Inside sources.
Oh yeah,
Nintendo Direct, March 11th.
Yep.
All right, good stuff.
Everyone's holding out hope.
And
Someone's got to be that
won't
guy.
we all shit ourselves if it actually did happen?
I'd be like, God damn it, Eric.
That's why I always bring a change of pants.
Yeah, right.
Well, now we're gonna head on over to. Is that a stash on your face, or are you just happy to see me, Mr. Stash Man?
Yeah, so it's the 26th. It's a short month. Obviously, we got the Pokemon Presents tomorrow, which does still technically mean there's still time for Nintendo Direct. Here's how I look at it, right? In that, and I've said this before, I don't need a direct. I don't need a traditional direct. I'd be perfectly fine with a Twitter direct. I still believe we need to get Metroid Prime 2 and 3 out the door before 4. That would be in Nintendo's best interest, especially for that IP. That IP really needs to build momentum for Part 4. For all the people who played Metroid Prime Remastered, and then Nintendo just expects you to jump into Part 4, and you're not going to give me 2 and 3. All the people who didn't grow up on GameCube and they have zero interest in trying to track down a GameCube and play in 480p in letterbox format on their TV with probably input lag, because they're going to have to use RCA cables or use an RCA to HDMI converter, which is going to introduce lag. They're probably going to get some shitty one on Amazon, right? And they're going to have a really bad experience. It's like, do you really want to put your fans through that? So that's how I look at that. I'm like, I know these have to get out the door. Whether you want to do a Nintendo Direct or you want to do a Twitter Direct, I don't care. But I have to believe those are coming. Looking at like what Furukawa said about, hey, we're going to try and bring new games to Switch One. Like, we'd like to bring new games to Switch One, is what he had said at the investors meeting. He didn't say we are going to. He said if it makes sense, right, we're going to do that. I think if you look at those words and you analyze them a little bit, what he's saying is that we may bring new experiences to Switch One, like new games. I don't know. But I look at it in that he's saying that doesn't mean we're not bringing games to Switch One. I think he means like new games, like new entries in a series. If it makes sense, we'll do that. But otherwise, we're not going to, but they're still going to support Switch One. I expect remasters to continue to come out. I do. I still believe that there's a good chance of Mario Galaxy 2 coming out on Switch 1 for Mario's 40th. It just makes sense. Why would you omit that from Super Mario 3D All-Stars unless you had a plan? Nintendo plans ahead. They say, you know what? We're going to give them 3 3D All-Star games. And for the 40th, we already have a plan. We're going to give Switch 1 owners Super Mario Galaxy 2 HD. That way they can celebrate Mario's 40th with a new title. And for everyone who's getting Switch 2, they're going to have their new 3D Mario that will come out probably in the fall, September, October, November. But I think Nintendo wants to make sure that both Switch 1 and Switch 2 owners can celebrate Mario's 40th birthday in a special way. We only have games. We only have Xenoblade on March 20th. Outside of that, it's a completely empty calendar, right? So again, what do you want to do here? Like, and I ask you guys this too, what makes the most sense? Do you want to have a Nintendo Direct before Switch 2? Because once Switch 2 comes out, is anyone going to care about the Direct? Or are they going to care as much? We'll still care. We'll still watch it. There's still going to be games we'll buy on Switch 1. But for everybody else, for the masses, right? Does it have more of an impact or less of an impact? What do you guys think? Because you still got to announce these games that are coming. They're not just going to put a halt to it at, 100 and almost 55 million Switches in people's hands. They're not just going to stop releasing games. They have to release games. They have to be like financially, fiscally responsible as a publicly traded company. You got to keep releasing games. What do you think?
Yeah, I think. I mean, you made a lot of great points. I think we're still going to get game releases for the Switch. I think they made that pretty clear. I do agree with you. I feel like doing a Switch 1 Direct post Switch 2, like all the information, all the new games, is gonna hurt it in the long run. But I don't know. I've been 50-50 on this Direct for some time now. I think I made that clear in the next few sorry, the next few or the last few podcasts, and I've been pretty clear that I never thought that Prime 4 was going to be shown in a Switch 1 Direct. I think we already got that. I think it's going to be shown next in the Switch 2. You guys are killing me. Right? Can we have some decency while the new co-host speaks?
Slow as the private chat. You don't got to read.
I'm minusing the chat. I can't even get my bearings straight. Anyways, I never thought we were going to get.
He has no idea what the hell is going on.
I know. I never thought we were going to get another Prime 4 showing in a Switch 1 Direct. To me, it always made more sense for Switch 2. Just to give that wow factor to show what the tech does. We've already seen it on Switch 1. That's good enough. It already blew our minds. Let's take it even further. I think we're all expecting Mario Kart to be the big launch game. I think having that kind of technical powerhouse coming out alongside it and people seeing the visuals is really going to propel that one forward. But I think they could still drop Switch 1 announcements in Switch 2 Directs. I don't think it necessarily has to be separate. I think if they're going to do stuff that's separate related to Switch 1 going forward, they can do their Twitter announcements, their Twitter drops, and that works fine. It's hard for me to visualize, in the month of September, we have a Direct dedicated on Switch 1 games. I just don't see anything like that happening. And like I said earlier, I've been 50-50 on this Direct for a while. Now I'm at the point where I feel like it's maybe 20% chance. I said this last week, Nintendo is the hardest company to predict. There's no set rules with them. It's a lot easier to kind of predict Microsoft or Sony based on consistent patterns. Nintendo will just throw you a curveball. They give zero shits. There's no set rules with them. They'll literally have a pattern and then completely break it and be like, bam, didn't see that coming when they dropped Paper Mario announcement on Twitter for the first time. And everyone's like, what the heck? We're dropping games on Twitter now? When they left E3 and we're like, no, we're going digital directs directly to the consumer. So they changed stuff up like there's no tomorrow. It would not shock me at all for them to do a surprise direct tomorrow alongside the Pokemon Presents. But again, at this point, I don't think it'll be Switch 1 focused. I could see a mini partner showcase. I could see an indie direct happening before the Switch 2 one. It's a weird position because on one hand, Switch has had an amazing send-off when you compare it to previous Nintendo consoles that they've just let die way ahead of time. We've gotten some good stuff this year. We're getting an amazing Xenoblade game next month. And so part of me feels like, well, Switch has already crushed. We don't need anything else. The other part of me is, man, Switch is like this immortal console that's like blowing all these records. Let's give it one last hurrah. But yeah, we'll see.
Lando, what do you think?
Come on, man. I had the whole thing ready.
All right, Lando.
All right. I do not think. I think Nintendo's just like I said, is on Switch 2 mindset. I think the only thing we get, like you said, Game Bird, is just mini direct, partner showcase type of thing. If they want to treat Metroid Prime kind of like a Breath of the Wild situation, if it's like a cross-release type of game, they could have a little separate direct for that. Kind of just showing off the game. They don't have to even talk anything about the Switch 2 version or anything. Just show off what Prime 4 is going to be. At least get some word out there. That'd be great. But I think they're done. I think they're going to stay quiet. Shadow drops. And that's always their best friends. Just little Twitter stuff. I mean, they did it with Xenoblade. Just quick little boom. Here's a trailer out of the middle of nowhere.
Sure.
I for sure think we'll probably get that for Planet Robobot in March sometime. Maybe even before Xenoblade comes out. But besides that, I think they're all their gears are ready for Switch 2. But with that, I'm gonna have to head out for the night. I'm tired. It's bedtime.
Nah, you're all good, man.
Sorry, man. I'm just catching up with chat.
Oh no, you're good.
I'm all telling people to shut up and stuff. That's horrible.
I will touch on Mario Day first, though. I completely forgot about that. I don't think they're going to do anything. I feel like they might just announce something to announce in the future. Like all the festivities are not going to start until like September, probably towards the end of the year. But I'm hoping for anything. You know me. I mean, you talk about that 3D Mario. Give me a hint. Give me something.
Yeah. Let me ask you one last thing, Landon. You gonna get that stick fix for Switch 2?
What was that?
Stick fix. Are you gonna get stick fix? Yeah.
What's that?
Oh, dude.
Really?
Dude, you gotta see it. When you sign off, you gotta go check out Stick Fix.
Right before you go to bed, get on your phone and just go to YouTube and type in Stick Fix.
All right, that's the first thing I'm doing. Let me get off. All right.
Well, thank you for being here. Everyone, go check out Nintendo Land's channel. Mm-hmm. Throw him a subscription if you like. Mm-hmm. If you like him talking about month-old rumors. No, I'm not good.
I watch all your. I watch all of your videos. I appreciate that. Before you even came on the show, I was watching all of them. So
that's awesome, man.
Yeah, they're all great. I look forward to them. It's very good speculation.
Appreciate that.
No, it's all good. It's all good, man. God knows I'll be talking about that same rumor in like a week. Oh, yeah. So it is what it is. All right, man. It's slim pickings out there for us news-oriented channels. There's nothing going on.
Nothing.
Well, Pokemon Presents tomorrow. That's a day. And then nothing. All right. Thanks, Landon, for being here.
Thank you.
Right. Cheers, man. Thanks so much.
Now.
All right, guys.
Have a good one.
All right. Did everyone go then?
Yeah.
So, do you think we get possibly a Twitter direct, like Twitter announcements in March? Do you think that's possible that we get announcements in March if it's on Twitter?
It's totally possible.
feel
I
we
do
need
too.
something.
We need something because after March 20th, there's nothing. So again, like, would it be more or less impactful is what I want to know.
Well,
If you did Switch 1 after Switch 2.
so I think, I mean, look, the impact is what it is. No matter what they
Mhm.
do, Switch 2 is going to overlook anything Switch 1's got going on, whether it's before or after. I kind of feel like there's so much anticipation of that Switch 2 event that I'm not sure that people really care all that much. Pokemon being like obviously an exception because it's just such a large IP on its own. And we got to remember, we're saying like, well, after Xenoblade, there's nothing. Well, we could get a date for ZA tomorrow.
Mm.
That could be a
Yeah.
thing that actually happens. That could be a summer game for all we know. We have no idea when ZA is coming out. We kind of assume it'll be holiday, but what if it's not? What if it is like a summer
Yeah.
game?
Mhm.
So that could end up being something that could be coming quite quickly for all we know. So I kind of feel like even though there's going to be so much hype around Switch 2, and yes, they have those preview events in April that are obviously going to have, you know, footage of stuff and lots of conversations going on around the demos and stuff that get played. I kind of feel like later on in April, I can't look if I go off my gut feeling that they're just going to keep doing Switch 1 announcements through Twitter, it's just going to be every month. There'll be something next month. There'll be something in April. There'll be something in May. And, you know, I'm not saying they're shadow dropping every single game moving forward. But I do think that announcing the games can still just happen in that way. Because I think Nintendo's acutely aware that even before they announced the Switch 2, people were only really talking about Switch 2 anyways. So they know that like that's all people really care about is Switch 2. So there's no point to put all this effort into presentations and getting people hyped up when the number one question in the chat is going to be, where's my Switch 2 games? So like just avoid that, have your Switch 2 event and just drop all these Twitter announcements and everything. I think everything will be just fine. The only reason I would think they would ever need to not do that would be if there was another major game coming, and I don't think there is. I think all their biggest games are all on Switch 2 because Nintendo believes software sells systems. Can't do that if you're still putting your software on the prior system. So I think it's going to be mostly ports and remasters.
Yep.
And that's fine. Like, does Kirby Planet Robobot need a direct?
No.
Like, does it really need one? Does Metro Prime 2 and 3 need a direct? Not really. They shadow dropped Metro Prime Remastered for crying out loud. Did a direct really help that? They could have just did that without a direct.
Yeah, totally. I also think like stuff that's like eShop first, like the Prime Remastered,
Yeah.
doesn't need Switch. That could be in any Switch 2 direct. They could have Prime 4 at a later time. That could be a summer game or a late summer game, possibly. And they could be like, oh, and by the way, Prime 2 and Prime 3 Remastered are available
right now. Yeah, right now in the eShop.
And
right
those are Switch 1 games. No one's gonna be like, oh, I don't care. This is a Switch 2 direct. Prime fans are gonna be like, fuck yeah.
Yeah, because then you got Prime 4 stuff there. So like it's you know, it's one of those things that I kind of like. I don't think the Switch 2, the April 2nd event is gonna have like really anything new for Switch 1. Besides possibly if Metro Prime 4 is cross-gen or if ZA is cross-gen, then maybe you could argue anything showing for that is also Switch 1 news. But I think it's very clear the April 2nd is Switch 2 only. It's very focused on that. So I'm going to like Twitter drops, I think, is really all they really need to do moving forward for Switch 1. And if you guys think about it, it's kind of a little sad. The Switch 1 direct era kind of just went out with a little Peter. Like, hey, we had the big June one. Here's a third-party one in August when we usually have another big one in September, but nope, we didn't do that. And now we're done.
Yeah.
It would have been nice. I know they couldn't have announced it ahead of time because they would have give away when they're going to announce Switch 2 or show it. But like, it would have been nice to know, that, hey, we have no more Switch 1 directs planned. Like, it would have been nice to know. I know Nintendo never communicates in that way. But it would have just been nice. I think they kind of did tell us when they said, hey, April 2nd, Switch 2. I think that was kind of in hindsight. Setting aside all the rumors, in hindsight, it's like Nintendo was kind of telling us. But
they could it would actually, I think that would have been a great idea if they told us and they just add a but to it. There will be no more Switch 1 related directs or focused directs going forward. But
games coming.
Wind Waker and Twilight Princess are available today.
hoping to get that. It would have been nice if they would have just shadow dropped 2 Zelda games and told us no more directs.
It'd be a great way to go
Yeah.
out.
Yep.
Dude, no one's gonna be like, this sucks. Everyone's gonna be like, okay, cool, thank you.
You know,
Oh.
I wouldn't be surprised if we still got themed Switch 1 consoles, like special
Oh, sure.
editions, like
Sure.
for those games, possibly
Yeah,
one of them, like a Zelda theme. You never know.
Yeah, I'm trying to think like maybe I think if there's any more themed systems, it's got to be based around either Legend ZA or Metroid Prime 4. It's got to be based around the big ones they have left. So I definitely think that is possible. They could have one last or 1 or 2 last theme systems. I don't think they're going to go too big. They're not going to have enough big games left to really do it with. Those are kind of the two. And that would be neat. I mean, heck, even if Metroid Prime 4 is cross-gen, one of the reasons people might still get it on Switch 1 is I bought it and I got my theme Switch OLED.
Yeah, or even like next year for Zelda's 40th. Like, what if they came out with Wind Waker next year on Switch 1, and there was a Wind Waker themed Switch 1?
Or even a Switch Lite.
Yeah.
That would really bug me because I'd be so tempted to buy a Wind Waker.
Well,
Exactly.
that's why
Yeah.
I know I'd just
Yeah.
be like, please make it a Switch Lite when it's discounted and only like $100. Then I will gladly
All
add.
over that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is going on the shelf.
That's the worst part of buying consoles at launch is like you get so many cool options later. And you don't know what they're gonna do. So then you buy the first cool option. You're like, okay, I got this one. And then they do a golden Zelda one.
I waited.
I know.
I waited till the
It
tears
bugs
came
me.
to one. I waited. I was so tempted on so many of them. I'm like, nope. They will do a Zelda one someday. It's going to happen. They did it with 3DS. Just wait, Nate. Just wait.
So I did want to mention one thing to you guys before we go to the next topic. Michaela, my lady, she texted me earlier today a screenshot of something at the store.
Oh shit.
And she's like, "Do you need this?" And so I was like,
next.
"Yes, get me too." So I just want to say the Mario 40th anniversary merch is probably starting.
Mhm.
And it seems like they're getting it out in time for Mario Day. So
Mhm.
Oh shit.
it's just a magazine, but it's a special Time magazine,
Oh,
the $14.99 edition.
nice.
For 40
Wow.
years.
Oh.
It's definitely, you
Oh,
know, it's I'm showing this so bad. Here.
I might have to go pick one
Yeah,
up.
I'm gonna
I
need to
don't-
get that.
Yeah, I don't do magazines. That is freaking cool.
For the 40th. I will gladly get that.
This is the back. So
Nice.
I got the Time magazines last year for Pokemon
Mm.
for their anniversary. Right? There was 4 of them. You know, got to catch them all, obviously.
Yep.
And they're badass. This is 96 pages. And again, she got home like right before the podcast. So I haven't had a chance to look. And I'm like, can you get me one that I will, you know, put my greasy hands on, and then one that I keep in perfect condition.
Yep.
But even like right when you open it, you guys can see
Oh,
That's
it's
really
got like
cool.
another cover on it.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
oh.
Yeah.
This looks really nice. You know, there's your table of contents page.
Where'd she find that at? Was that at the grocery store, Target, or
Grocery stores. She was at
yeah.
they went to Whole Foods on break. Like they walked over there for lunch at work, and she saw it there. And I'm
That's
like,
cool.
oh yeah, no doubt, please. I'm like, I have not heard anybody on Twitter talk about this yet. No one's posted about it.
That is sick.
I'm guessing it literally hit newsstands like possibly this morning. And I'm like, oh yeah, please get this. So yeah, keep an eye out for that, guys. For all the collectors out there. It's starting. There's probably going to be a lot more.
Yeah, it's
coming.
the first thing to have it out there that you could buy.
Yep.
Mhm.
It's awesome. I'm gonna have to find it. Not a lot of places that still have magazine stands, so I gotta
know.
look
Yeah.
around a little bit. Grocery store might be the best place.
I will say this, getting Pokemon, all 4 of them, was very hard.
Mm.
So
Mhm.
they were sold out. And from what I heard, the East Coast got like 2 colors got like red and blue, and the West Coast got different ones. Got the Pikachu and something else.
Mhm.
So it was very hard to track down. And of course, people on eBay, you know,
Mhm.
you know how that goes.
Jacking that price up.
Yep. Exactly.